Excellent. Fantastic. All right. Well, I am coming to you live from Texas, from my family's house here with 4 cats now, including Sophie is one of them. I have been I've been fully catted. My mom's cats don't really cuddle, but they still want attention. So that's what I've been doing. I survived, as you can tell. I survived my flight last Thursday. Thank you for your patience and the fact that I didn't stream then, but it would have been rather difficult to stream from an airplane. The cats get along better this time than they have in previous visits. Sophie, mostly it's that I put up a baby gate in the hallway leading to my room so that the cat who likes to make Sophie nervous can't come here, but Sophie can. And that has, I think, really calmed Sophie down a lot. And I've also been spending more time with the other cats, so they like me a bit more. And that seems to have kind of made peace everywhere. But yeah, that's my life. Disco Elysium. We were going to do some things when we dived in, because last time we had some really big and exciting discoveries. I thought that we were just gonna be, well, yeah, you know, you can in fact negotiate with a cat, just as you can negotiate with a person. You just kind of have to figure out what they want and how they work as individuals. Yeah, so last time we had a big lowdown. Did you see, like, I haven't noticed that before. My money ticked up in the little corner of it right here. I'm in a slightly different setup. I do have 2 screens still. Slightly different setup because the screen is like low instead of high. If Joyce were a cat, she'd be really good at negotiating with cats. Alright, I'm gonna just walk our boys with the keyboard because I can. It's very exciting. The music is so pretty. The game window isn't fully displayed. Oh, it's too big! Okay, hold on. Okay, let's try this. This is the hazard of switching to a different, like, being in a different situation. Alright. Where is this? Which one is this? Disco. It's called Disco. Okay, hold on. Transform. Reset transform. Okay, and then we're gonna go like this. Okay, and then we're going to put up our no spoilers text. Alright! How's that? Is that better? You can see everything now. You can see our disco boys going. Alright, so there's a couple of things, and so at this point I've been really like oh man, yes, we've got several folks who caught up. Well, I'm glad that me taking a week off allowed you to catch up and now you can join live. We will have another week off from streams, I think, this month. I'm gonna try really hard to have my Night in the Woods video done in time, which is I'll be recording that from my mom's house, which is exciting. So that'll give folks something to see if you find that, if you know that game. So one of the things that I have the hardest time with in this game is making up my mind, deciding what I want to do, both in choosing answers. Oh, that's so ominous. We're gonna get out of that music and come back to this music because I like this music much better. I have a really hard time making decisions about what to do next. As much as I have a hard time figuring out what to say, I particularly struggle. Look at this. This is me using my four arrows on my laptop. Yeah, the Measurehead theme. I don't know. I wasn't sure if that was a Measurehead theme or just like bad news. Yes. So I don't know if I need to summarize what happened last time, but I thought I was just gonna like talk to Joyce about some of the same stuff that we've been hearing people talk about, and I was like, I don't know if I really need a reality lowdown. And the game was like, ha, ha, you know how you've been having a really hard time making sense of the world? Well, there's a reason why. It's not just that your brain isn't working. Like, oh snap! Happy birthday, Blue Glass, man! Back to back birthday times for community people. It's very exciting. I hope you enjoy your birthday dinner, and we'll see you around. Yeah, so there's some more things that we could talk to Joyce about. And here's the thing, like, I want to have a good time, but I have this, like, performance anxiety where I have a hard time making up my mind what order I want to do things in, and worrying about missing out on things, and worrying about putting on an entertaining show for the folks who tune in every week. This sort of thing stresses me out a lot more than it realistically should. And I have a hard time, like, committing to doing things, because once you've done a thing, you cut off the other things you could be doing at that time, or you change the order of things. You have, you know, I'm kind of at a stage in my own life where there's, like, you know, multiple paths of what I'm going to do with my life, and I'm panicking and indecisive. And so I'm very poorly equipped to make decisions in fictional spaces, because I find that stressful, especially when I don't have very much to give. So I told myself the end of last stream, which was not last week, but the end of last stream, I kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit made a plan of what I thought I was gonna do. And I don't know that I, hold on, where is this, the description? Yes, okay, so as of last time, as I put the video up, because I was time stamping it, that gives me a good time to think about kind of what am I going to do next, and to kind of reflect on what I did the night before. So the question, do we progress the plot and get the body down? Do we then go talk to Martinez after the hour that he says it's safe to do that? And then do we finally go talk to Joyce without Kim present? That's kind of what I had laid out as my plan for this. Enerjax, hi, welcome, hello, how are you doing? I forget, do you know Disco Elysium? Have you played this game? I'm afraid of spoilers, big time spoilers for other people, but that's kind of for everyone else, that's the plan of when I was like, no, I'm gonna make a plan and I'm gonna commit to it. That is what the plan that I had was. Because people were like, well, why don't you just ask Kim to step away so you can talk to Joyce? And I'm like, that just feels really, for me, that feels like more of a betrayal, and also like less professional and less good than just being like, okay, I'm gonna have to talk to her about this without him being here at all. Like, you know, I don't know. It just feels grosser and less effective. I'd rather just completely go behind his back. That's my thought. Okay, Enerjax, this just to warn you, and for anyone who's tuning in who doesn't know Disco Elysium, this is a very heavy game. It deals with heavy subject matters. It is not... How do I describe content warning for Disco Elysium? It is a game in which I swear during my stream, because the game itself has enough swearing and things much worse than swearing that I wouldn't be able to read the dialogue choices that I pick out loud if I still had my no swearing rule. And I have no moral objection to swearing. I just find that it sets a good tone, makes people behave better on stream. Um, uh, but it has, these two are cops in a falling apart world. So there's world problems and cops problems, and we're trying to solve a murder mystery that might have racism involved, and also, oh god, we're about to go talk to Measurehead. Content warning! The big racist himself. And there's a lot. Disco Elysium has a lot. Yes, we're gonna go talk to a large racist tonight. And I don't want anyone who's looking for like a cozy chill time and doesn't know this game to wind up falling into an uncomfortable spot because of that. We'll go back to exploring the fantastic and fascinating world building after we've done that. But in order to progress the plot at this point, the way things are set up, I unfortunately have to ask the large racist for help. Wait. Who is coming to the door? Sorry, I just heard the, like, doorbell sound of my mom's house, but that's fine. Alright. So just to let everyone know... Oh yeah, we're not going to talk to Cuno. He's a content warning, too. Oh, man. So many charming characters in this game. No, there are actually some very lovable and charming characters. Like Kim. Kim has his faults, for sure. But he's still lovable. Just to warn you all, I don't have my regular chat hat. So we have to be inventive. And instead we're using the Nox box. So, like, look forward to that if I need to ask for help. I don't have a cowboy hat. I'm not a real Texan, okay? I just lived most of my life here. Alright. Shall we go talk to the giant racist? I don't want to, but I guess we gotta do this. One thing about this game, no question, it definitely makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you have to, no matter what path you take, you wind up making decisions that you dread and are uncomfortable with. It is a very, very uncomfortable game. And that's part of why I struggle so much with it. So this right here, is this their office? Just make sure that I'm doing this right. Well, because it's not just the dice, and it's not just the choices you make. Like, the world that we're in is really uncomfortable, and that... It's just... That's not going to change anytime soon. Walking down the road of progressively larger racists. Yeah, well, physically larger, and also, like, is the... Like, if we were to, like, measure the size of their racism... Like, would Measurehead out-racist the racist truck driver? I'm not really sure. I feel like with things like that, it's kind of hard to, like, quantify that. Nobody wins. You know? Yeah, well, like, even, like, the bookstore, which was, like, my ultimate comfort zone, was, like... We intervened in a mother emotionally abusing her daughter because she's perpetuating the cycle of abuse that she was subjected to when she was younger. So it's not exactly feel good. But also that has the most adorable character in the game, the little girl. God, a lucky third racist, amazing. Looking like, okay, so I have to say, is Kim gonna stay behind there? He might. Measurehead is the CEO of racism. I don't know. I feel like that's giving him too much credit, though. He's not, like, organized or successful in his racism. He's just big and loud and pathetic. He's especially big, and he's especially loud, and he's especially shirtless. But I feel like calling him a CEO is for all that I don't hold CEOs generally in high regard, I still don't feel like Measurehead achieves even what they achieve. You know? This is not in any way saying that CEOs are good. This is more saying that Measurehead is worse. Yeah. So as much as this is, so this is a not inherently realistic world, but a lot of the characters do feel... Okay, Gibraltar, I can see that point. I've been thinking about realism versus stylization in stories for reasons that will become clear at some point in the hopefully near future. But thinking about like this game, which is definitely not meant to be an absolutely accurate representation of how real people in the real world act and how the real world is set up. Even so, this I will say like one of the least plausible feeling and most this is a game set up to be a game things is Measurehead's ladies just standing around pumping him up like this. Like, it's not that I don't think that an enormous racist could get girls, or that he wouldn't be able to successfully get multiple girls if that's kind of like what his philosophy of racism entails. But like the particular way that they just stand there and talk about how great he is, just this feels like background dialogue for background NPCs, which is what it is. But most of the dialogue in the game doesn't feel like that to me. Yeah, no, like it feels like a cliche from a story in a game that doesn't usually do that. So, like with a lot of the other dialogue in the game, even with the like background NPCs, I'm like, oh, I can pick up things. Oh, they're trying to do this. Oh, I wonder if this guy is that or that. Like, for example, the scabs down yelling in the harbor. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, which of those scabs, like, are, like, normal scabs and which of them might be, like, ex-military scabs, you know? But, the three ladies just yelling about how great Measurehead is just I will say, it's like the most immersion-breaking moment in the game. I am, in fact, postponing, putting off, delaying, having to talk to the big racist. Content warning, racism. Aren't you looking forward to this conversation? I'm not. I have been stalling talking to Racism Head for months now. I think months worth of streams. Let's do it. You cannot talk to any of his ladies. Racism Head is who he meets in Silent Hill. I don't know. I think he is Racism Head. Alright. We're gonna save. Stalling? Me? Never. I would never do such a thing. Why would I do such a thing? Why would you think I would do such a thing? Like, Measurehead makes all men quiver. Like, no. That doesn't sound like real person dialogue. Or even stylized dialogue. That, I don't know. It's like, does he pay these ladies to stand around and yell about how great he is? Maybe. Maybe he does. I don't know.
Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
Who are the Hardy Boys? Other than, like, problem-solving mystery boys from previous decades. Are the Hardy Boys the people that I noped out of talking to in the Whirling in Rags? Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the portraits look more or less real. Like, there's degrees of real and degrees of stylization in how people are drawn. And his is very definitely abstracted, shall we say. Which is, I think, not an accident. I mean, he's the character that I think that most of us are not going to at all identify with. But he's also terrifying. So this very terrifying, not fully human concept of a giant, monstrous, racist man is kind of what they've gone with. Well, like, even though he's tattooed, it's the way that he's done. Like, his features are more suggested. His body is more of a suggestion rather than, like, our two lead guys, for all that Mr. Ocelot looks a little worse for the wear. All of his pieces are recognizable and identifiable. He looks like a slightly caricatured person. Kim looks like a stylish, like somebody has a style and draws a portrait of a person. Measurehead doesn't have that. I mean, if you look at even just like, okay, sorry, we're going there. You're just gonna have to deal with this. And I don't know a lot about European comics, so if this is stuff that's like standard there, it's new to me. But if you just take a look at this line that goes around his head, his outline, if you will, it just stops at the top. He doesn't get fully outlined. He's much more like somebody smeared paint onto the page versus making him look like a real person. Even outside of, like, yes, he has these bright, colorful tattoos all over himself. It's interesting. He's an impression of a person who is insecure in his actual sense of self, and therefore he tries to assert his self-importance and his power. But if you actually poke at it, it starts unraveling because there's not actually substance beneath it. The only substance holding Measurehead up is the fact that he's so enormous that he's not going to get taken down by people who are afraid he's then going to take them apart. Like, it's very easy to take apart Measurehead's mental logic. But unfortunately, it's very easy for Measurehead to take apart your physical body. So that does complicate matters a little bit. All right. So I could show him the racist mug, but I don't think I'm going to show him the racist mug. I don't want to ask him about the racist mug. I don't really want to talk to him. Sorry, folks. Usually I'm like, I want to talk to these people as much as possible. How much can I possibly talk to them about? No. Like, unless I, like, take the mug and smack him over the head with it, which will not end well for me, I don't really think there's much for me to gain there. I am not going to subscribe to his advanced race theory. Shocking, I know. No, we're not going to follow the racism. However, I might ask him, why are you not with the Hardy Boys? Okay, so for the record, when I hear the Hardy Boys, spelled differently, spelled D-Y instead of D-I-E, like, you may be familiar with Nancy Drew, which is this, like, very long-running series of, like, mystery novels that I think started in, what, the 50s? Maybe earlier. And then kept going and got rebooted in the 80s, and they've thought about rebooting it again. But it was ghost written by a lot of different writers and had Carolyn Keene was the name, I believe, that they gave the writer of those books. So the Hardy Boys were like Nancy Drew. They were instead of where she was like the super cool, like, older teenage girl, they were the more like relatable, like, young mid-teens, if I remember correctly. And they like Nancy Drew, they solve crime, they solve mysteries, and it's very wholesome because of the era and what it is. They kind of made Nancy Drew slightly a bad girl in her reboot. She has a boyfriend and I think drives cars, maybe even a motorcycle. But all of that was pretty wholesome in the initial thing. I never read more than like I think 1 or 2 Hardy Boys, and I read a bunch of Nancy Drew, so I liked Nancy Drew better. I feel like, yeah, the thing is, like, I don't know that the writers know this, and I don't know that all of our viewers are going to, because we've got viewers from around the world. So if you don't know why I'm having a reaction to the Hardy Boys, that is the cultural context. That is what that name means to me, spelled differently. Don't think that's what they meant here. I don't know what, like, if they had any particular inspiration for why they chose to name those characters that. I don't know what it is, but for me, that's what it says. So you expect these wholesome, I don't know, the Hardy Boys are brothers, right? These wholesome younger bros who are solving mysteries in a wholesome way. Very wholesomely. Oh, man. Oh, we've had a few dropped frames. My apologies for that. We'll do our best. Fortunately, there's not tons of graphics in this game. Like, it's not like an animation is going to get lost. Has anyone ever written fan fiction of Nancy Drew and Carmen Sandiego? Please tell me yes, okay? Please tell me this. I need this to exist. I hope that some of you know who Carmen Sandiego is as well. They did reboot her, and I actually liked what they were doing. But Carmen Sandiego, I think, was probably a little awakening for a lot of young people. She's very cool. Anyway, I got off on a tangent that, am I stalling me? No, never. Crossover fic, but not shipping fic. But, come on! I mean, to be fair, Nancy's usually a lot younger than Carmen, I think, in the books versus the games. I think Carmen is like a grown-ass adult, and I think Nancy is a young adult. But this is fan fiction. We can change that. There is one. Okay, well, I'm glad to know that there is a fic. But that is a missed opportunity, folks. If you're looking for something to write fan fiction about, cat and mouse, detective and criminal, like, sexually charged, full of banter, Nancy Drew and Carmen Sandiego. Write it, and then tell me about it. That's what I want. Oh, man, anyway. That's not what's happening in this game. But it could be. No, Carmen and Waldo, no. Yeah, and I know it's a Sherlock thing. It's a classic and popular trope. Why didn't they make a crossover for me? How dare. Anyway. I don't think I'm cool enough to write Carmen Sandiego. Because she's got to be cool. If she's not cool, you're not doing her right. Okay, let's ask about the Hardy Boys. Why are you not with the Hardy Boys?
I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called Hardy Boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. Their company is spiritually degrading.
He's so ridiculous. You cannot ask, how does Carmen Sandiego steal the things she steals? I mean, you can ask, but there will never be an answer. She steals beaches. You just roll with it. That's what she does. She steals things because she wants to be found. She's just that good. Yes, that's correct. Sorry, apparently my, like, comfort support during the Measurehead scene is going to be thinking about Carmen Sandiego. She stole a river. Yes, that is how she rolls. She's amazing. Yeah, well, and then in the new cartoon, they decided to make her, like, she steals things from the bad guys and gives them back to the people that they were stolen from, including like from museums to the people that the museums took it from. I remember correctly. So it's like Carmen Sandiego was like undoing her racism. So really, she's actually kind of perfect as a counter to Measurehead. I think she would kick Measurehead's ass. I don't care how tall he is or beefy. Carmen Sandiego would destroy this man. Alright. If anything gets out of control, we'll just hit the no button and just Carmen Sandiego will just vault it and save the day. Anyway. Okay, so see, defense spelled with a C. It's not the American spelling. We spell it in this case with an S. It's fun learning those differences. This thing of like, I'm not the first line of defense, I'm the last. Like, that actually makes sense. Like, if you have your big beefy guy who's like, I'm not there to like prevent people from like causing any sort of trouble. I'm just here to be the wall that nobody can get through because I'm made of meat. Like, fair. But then because he's Measurehead, he has to do a racism because like it's in his contract. Oh, interesting, Gundy Butt. No, there's a bunch of words that were originally a C, and when was it Webster decided to basically flip off the British and say we're writing our own dictionary, and the spellings are going to make sense based on pronunciation. That was one of the things that got changed. All right, but you're all part of the union? Question mark.
The hardy manlets are on the pay of the company. I answer to the union alone. And I do this out of race heroism. Finance is an alien concept to the Simmons.
It feels like he picked up a bunch of words and shook them around and was like, yes, this is good. He's like, oh, hello, Sophie. Sophie's here. Sophie girl. Okay, well, I won't be able to wear the chat hat because the Knox box is being satted by the cat. Yes, he's too good to be paid by the company. He does it because of race heroism. Like, it's one thing if you're like, one of my cultural values is in defending people. So I defend people without payment. Oh, hello, Sophie. Hi. Hello. But that's not what Measurehead is saying. And that's not the way he's saying it. I don't think I could play his route. Somebody left a comment actually about there's been research done that shows like what percentage of players go evil route, and like most players don't take an evil route in games, and if they do, it's frequently on a second playthrough after they've got their good route. I was like, yeah, I'm not that weird for not wanting to play an evil route. You watched it on YouTube. Somewhere Sans is shaking his bony finger at you. I'm really glad we're throwing out some Carmen Sandiego facts here. That's good. You're pumping me full of energy to keep going, persevere in the face of this appalling man. All right.
Now leave me be. I must luxuriate in the company of my woman.
Which one of these? I guess it's this girl because she's standing closest. And then this is just his cheer squad. I'm not going to show him the mug because I don't want to hear about his racism. The thing is, Disco Elysium doesn't have, like, just one clear defined evil route, as far as I can tell. It has a lot of morally gray routes, some of which are more shadier than others. But it's not it's not helping grandma or kicking puppies. It's not BioWare. I've heard actually that the way that Baldur's Gate 3 does more morality is really interesting, where it's like, here's a complex situation. Which choice are you going to make about how you solve it? Or just turn bosses into sheeps and throw them off cliffs. I'm actually somewhat interested in that game. I kind of want to try it. Yeah, we'll see an evil root. That's the thing, is I suspect that there are multiple roots that are different degrees of evil. It's not that none of the roots are evil. It's that it's not like there's the one evil root and the one good root. It's like, it's a spectrum. Yeah, some of my friends have romanced the lady from Literal Hell, who is a cinnamon roll. I'm curious who I would romance in that game. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. Oh, 100 hours long. Oh no. Okay, well maybe we'll play a little bit of it just to see what happens. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and end this conversation with Measurehead and say, Everett told you to help us get the body down from the tree. I played D&D, but I don't know if it was 5th edition. I don't remember. Most of my tabletop has been homebrew systems. Yes, Disco Elysium has more nuance, and that's one of the things I respect about it. Alright. Get the body down and stop being racist at me. I'm still wearing my cool gloves. That's okay, I've got my friendship hat. Everything is set. Alright.
So it was. You surmounted the harbor wall in a display of athletic prowess to reach my superior. Then had him give me an order. I salute your cunning, and I will remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
Okay, first of all, his voice actor actually makes me laugh. Like, he sounds like it's physically exhausting to do that voice. I don't want Measurehead's respect. I have earned it, apparently, regardless. He's like, you may not be racist enough, but you did a physical thing and you went over my head to my boss. That shows power. And I'm like, go away. Stop being racist. If I can make him be less racist, that would be good. Unfortunately, that would probably be small and incremental. In the meantime, he's still dangerous. So, I don't know. His bare hands. Yes, he's very excited about this. How tall is 2.2 meters in feet, please? Oh, Paper Mario is on Tuesdays. Disco Elysium is on Thursdays. Amelia, excellent. We were just discussing Carmen Sandiego and how she needs to be shipped with Nancy Drew in some fan fiction, so you will fit right in. Oh, he's over 7 feet tall. Oh, that is a very tall fellow. I've had friends who were like 6.5 feet tall, and that's tall. That's very tall. 7 feet though. That's very, very tall. Yes. Well, it's just Measurehead is kind of stressful to be around. So our happy, fluffy thought was thinking about Carmen Sandiego's adventures. Gotta appreciate her. She's cool. Alright.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
Okay, she's got a ponytail, so it's gotta be this girl right here, actually. That looks like the... Oh, actually, look at that! The portrait of her has him looming in the background. That's not creepy. That's totally creepy. And very appropriate. Her facial features and the overall look make me think of Harley Quinn. I don't know why. Maybe it's that she's very pale and has an extremely pointy heart-shaped face, and so does Harley. I don't know. But she gives me Harley Quinn vibes, which... Bad taste in men. Harley winds up trading up, though. I think that Harley and Poison Ivy make a much better couple. All right.
There's a but.
Oh, I did not pick up on that rhetoric. To be fair, my rhetoric is like hiding with like all the rest in a like safe zone because I don't like Measurehead. I'm sorry.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you. Both of you.
Oh, okay. So that's not her butt. It's his butt. I don't really want to know anything about Measurehead's butt unless I'm kicking it and he's flying off into the sun. That would be fine. So, Lieutenant, what if we don't want to do that? Okay, then, and wait here while Measurehead. Can we just call him Measurehead? I think we should call him Measurehead. Sorry. No, I don't want to. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't want him to go unsupervised to the body. I think that's a bad idea. So, Lieutenant, what if we don't want to do that? Wedgie head!
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it on ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Okay, well, if Kim says it's alright, then I guess we'll do it. Alright. I trust Kim. I feel like Kim stands physically farther back when you talk to Measurehead than he does when you talk to other people, which I think is probably wise. Measurehead is big and scary, and Kim is a small man. He really looks like he's got a Pokeball on his jacket. He's got a Pokemon biker jacket. And those poofy riding pants. But he's usually riding horses, but he's definitely a motorcycle type of guy. Alright.
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce competition to my heroic haplogroup.
Okay, so he's not as violently anti-Kim as he is other groups. He's still doing a racism, but at least he's not inflicting active violence. So, like, cool. This is like it could be worse. It is less bad. I don't want to do that. Something bad is going to happen, but... Yeah, no, and it's not... This is not good, but he could be worse. He just... You can't go very far without Measurehead doing a racism. Alright. Kim has said that we're gonna wait. This is going to go terribly. Mark my words. Something is gonna go horribly wrong. Maybe he's gonna take the boots. And that's gonna be a bad thing, so we don't want that. And maybe he's going to... I mean, I would say maybe he's gonna mess up the body, but also I literally shot the body trying to get it down. Which is gonna be a fun one to tell the autopsy guys about. So... I will say, I don't know that Measurehead has motivation to do anything to the body like that. And because he kind of exists with this concept of himself as this great and majestic hero, he wouldn't do something petty for pettiness' sake. He'd have to have a reason, like a motivation, why it fits within his self-identified heroic nature to do it. So also he could have just done it at any point if he wanted to, so fine, let's see what happens if somebody else shows up and beats me up and I punch them with my little like rubber glove. No, this is like it's a gardening glove, isn't it? Let's wait here. This is gonna be great. It's not gonna go badly at all. Measurehead, don't you fucking mess with those children. Okay? We will load our save if he harms those kids in any way. Just saying. Like, that is an unacceptable thing. Let's see what happens. Okay then, let's wait here while Measurehead goes. I don't like this.
Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
Oh good, I get to talk to his lady. He is very large. He's like comedically.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
Alright.
So, you guys are like cops or something?
She turns to you. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna talk to this girl. Alright. So I can say, why are you with Measurehead? Or, yeah, we're the law around here. Or, apparently so. Or, we're just trying to keep things from going to shit. Alright, Lauren. It's time to overanalyze every single line of dialogue you could possibly choose, and then choose one. Buckle up, folks. Apparently so. Seems like that might cut off the conversation. We're just trying to keep things from going to shit. Because, like, I don't... If I were role-playing this with full control of my character and trying to feel out the situation, I would have other conversation topics and then ask her about Measurehead once I softened her up a bit. It's generally more effective than just going in cold. In my experience, it does not always actually make a difference. Like, sometimes a tough subject is just going to get shut down no matter what. But if you can get someone to like you, trust you, and feel like they can open up to you, they're more likely to do so. So, people skills that I may or may not actually have. I like this answer though, so I'm gonna pick it. The thing is though, like, all three of these are related. They're actually relevant to her question. This is asking her question. Or cutting off her line of conversation with my own. Well, we'll see. I'm just going to pick this answer because I like it. How's that for overthinking things? We're just trying to keep things from going to shit.
Have you ever thought that maybe things should go to shit? I'm Katya, by the way.
The woman twirls her hair. That's an interesting perspective, honey.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Is he breaking the tree?
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
I also wish I could see it. Or I don't. I've seen enough of that dead body already. I would like to see it. I will, once again, predictably, sorry folks, complain about the fact that I don't know what his intent is, but there is an interpretation of this line that would give me what I want. I want to be able to see what he is doing because I am concerned. I don't want to see it because it would be super cool. Well, whatever. I'm going to choose that, and that's not going to be what the game means by this, but it's what I'm going to mean by it. And then the game's going to be like, what? You want to see the body get messed up more? And I'd be like, too bad, game.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everett's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
Thanks, scab leader. Trying to undermine our authority around here. Well, that's alright. Pretty sure that Ocelot has done a lot to undermine his own authority. This is great. This is good. This is fantastic.
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
I love Kim. So I can say, I'll work with whoever I want. Or, yes, I am an unbelievably corrupt cop. I am corrupt every opportunity I get. Or, that's none of your business. So, like, 2 is hilarious, and in the right hands, it could come across as making fun of this guy. But I don't know if I believe that Ocelot would intend that or try to pull that off. Like, the way it's written makes me feel like it's clown shoes that could be mocking him. But I don't understand the writers super well. I don't think that's how they write things. I don't think that's how they roll. I don't think that's what they do. So, gotta make a decision. By the way, I'll work with whomever I want. Because it's the object of the preposition, or the subject of the object of the preposition. I'll work with him would mean, although actually, well, no, now I wonder. No, this is one of those complicated situations in which it is the subject of the it's the subject of the preposition, or rather the object of the preposition, but it's also the subject of its own phrase. And that collectively, that phrase is the object of the preposition, but if it's the subject of that, then yeah, that might actually be grammatically correct. Oh, damn it. I don't remember what that's called. I really enjoyed diagramming sentences in college. I was disappointed that I didn't get to diagram sentences when I was younger. But then we got to that specific kind of situation, and I was like, oh, what do I do? Anyway, I don't know. Somebody who's actually more of a grammatical nerd than I am is gonna have to solve that. I'm pretty sure I've had that conversation with someone before. I think it's a trick. I think it's actually whoever. All right. Anyway, I got distracted by some grammar. You know what you're getting into if you're here. Why are closed? Well, generally speaking, if you can put him in the substance in the sentence and it makes sense, then you use whom. If he would make sense, then you use who. That's the mnemonic that most of the time will serve you well. So I'll work with him. I'll work with whom. I'm here to give you useless mnemonic devices about all sorts of grammatical things. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to get excited about grammar. It's gonna be me. I feel like if I did a second playthrough, I should just pick all of the clown shoes options just to see what happens. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I can win this. Well, I graded papers as a TA in college. That was fun. It's not, actually. 1 or 3. Like I'm drawn to 2 because it's interesting, and the stakes are this. I don't think this man's actually. I don't know. I don't understand humor. I'm gonna go with a serious thing here. I think that, honestly, I think that Kim has it right. I think that the right thing to do here is not to be defensive, but to be offensive. I think the opportunity here is to turn it around and start questioning him until he backs down. Because he doesn't want that. Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you? Oh, because they don't belong to you because you're just pretending to be a scab? He is pretty massive. Like, he looks intimidating and beefy. They do manage to have, like, a real sense of physicality with their characters. Stop thinking so much about this and just pick answers. Just vibe with it. Just make a big mess. You ready to make a big mess? Probably gonna make a big mess. That's none of your business.
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Cuno. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
Okay, Kuno's okay.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today.
He brushes wooden flakes off his hands, so he'll have taken down a branch of the tree, perhaps. So I'm going to say there has been no side choosing. We did what we had to do to keep order. Because it'd be one thing if he was like, you have sided with the Union. That's a bit more of a sticky situation. But I will not let him think that I have sided with his race stuff. Did he punch the tree down? Maybe. Maybe. Alright, let's go for it.
And what you had to do was to become a Union man for all to see.
Okay. I'm just gonna leave. Alright, well, we did that. The thing is, people have seen us just straight up talking to Joyce a lot. So I'm not worried about it coming across as like super one-sided. Body down, no more Measurehead. Yeah, we're done with Measurehead. Alright, getting the body down. Go to the yard and see what Measurehead accomplished. Amazing. That's a phrase. That sure is a phrase. It is almost 9 p.m. in the game. See what he has done. Hello, lesser racist. Alright, folks. You ready? See what Measurehead has accomplished? It's gonna go great. It's gonna go so great. I'm just gonna make infinite saves. Because apparently you can do that in games now. Blue Glass, we're about to see what Measurehead did. What Measurehead has accomplished. He's gonna have messed up all of the footing that I saw. What did he do? Okay, so the tree... But where's the body? There's the body. No, so he just broke the branch. And the body is down. Alright. Content warning, we're about to look at the body. So, if you are not cool with looking at the body, you might want to look away or get off the screen, whatever your choice is. I will respect that. Giving you a moment to choose what you're going to do there. And then I will let you do that. And then we're going to move on. If anybody wants to take the mods up on, we can always just just not message you, but just like go to stream chat on Discord, and they can let you know when we're done with the body if you want that. If anyone's okay with that, I'm volunteering you. Sorry, mods. All right. Content warning: the body is gross. We'll see if it's gotten grosser since last time. It has been a day, and also got mauled by a giant racist, so that's cool. How did he get it? How did he break? Did he like jump up and his weight collectively brought it down, and then he like dropped and rolled? Maybe. Recomposed instead of decomposed. Yes, and now it's going to be like, no, the like various body parts are twisted and broken in ways that they're not supposed to be. Well, if the autopsy team wanted it to be good, they would have sent me somebody, like, sent me, like, equipped me with the tools to actually deal with the situation. Maybe. They don't have any resources. We don't have resources. Alright, let's see what happens.
The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Okay, so he did kind of try with it. Okay, so I can either say beautiful and wipe a tear from my eye, or I can say, well, it's down. Celebrate in a more reserved manner.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy.
We're not doing the autopsy, Kim. Are we? They should have autopsy guys do that. I thought we were getting the body down so that the autopsy guys could do that. That's not us. But the fact that it's a field autopsy makes me nervous. A field autopsy?
Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
He covers his nose when he lists these. Cool. I feel like you're supposed to have a greater knowledge of like anatomy and science and stuff to do autopsies. Okay, well, I guess I don't have to explain to the autopsy guy where the bullets in the tummy came from.
The RCM's 4-phase murder scene processing manual.
Thanks, Encyclopedia. Kim just told me that.
The fuck are they on about?
Don't worry, Cuno.
Cop's gonna cut his shit up.
Don't we have someone else for this? A doctor? Come on, Kim, explain to me how badly off the RCM is. Clearly, I don't understand.
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work, everything.
So, like, even if the police force in the U.S. wasn't built on a history of slave catchers, then they're therefore, like, inherently flawed down to its core and responsible for bringing people to fill prisons that are privately owned so that the people who own those prisons can make money from the government for having prisoners and also lend out those prisoners for slave labor. Even outside of that, a lot of these things are things that people think cops should do. And so when people say defund the police, people who are like, oh, but the cops have to do all of these things. How could you possibly defund them when they need to do these things? It's like, well, they don't actually do these things. Somebody else who's actually skilled and equipped to do them should do them. Like social work, for example. If someone is in crisis, the cops don't know what to do, best case scenario, or will actively cause harm because they have different motives and priorities. If someone is in crisis, a person who is equipped at dealing with that kind of crisis should be able to go out and be the one to address the situation. I know that we like to think that cops are all going to be like Superman talking people back from the ledge and things like that. But that's not actually how it works. Both because of inherent flaws in the police force as a concept and as an institution, but also like that's a challenging thing that you need special training to be able to do. I'm not surprised that coroners don't make very much. I mean, the thing that drives me the most crazy, I guess, is EMT salaries being so low. So incredibly low. Like, these are literally people who put their sanity and safety on the line to help people in the worst emergencies. And they're paid peanuts. Like, our priorities are fucked. I can swear it's Disco Elysium. And it's really sad. I mean, it's really sad. Like, when they talked about essential workers, why is it that the essential workers are the ones who are paid the least so often in society? Because, like, I'm sorry, having been, like, office job working person myself, it's not essential. Why is somebody in a little cozy office job making a lot more money than someone who put their life on the line to make sure society still functions and so people don't die? There's a crisis in the US and Canada now for vets, like veterinarians, because nobody wants to do it. Nobody lasts long doing it. It has one of the highest suicide rates of any profession. They get paid peanuts too, relatively speaking, and get treated terribly, and also have to deal with wanting to save animals and not being able to in a lot of cases. And it's just... And yet teachers' salaries are incredibly low too, and teachers are expected to take on more and more and more and more, and you know, they have to take out of their own pockets. They have to buy supplies for their classroom and their students. It's just, the whole thing is just really fucked. Okay? Like, the system as we have it now is bad. It is not good. And so Disco Elysium is made by people in another country on a different part of the world with different cultural experiences. And I don't know what the Estonian situation is with cops and teachers and pay and abuse of power and things like that. I don't know. But I feel like there's got to be some similarities and overlap, because the situation right here, like, this is supposed to be appalling, and not just because, like, I, Lauren, do not wish to participate in an autopsy. It's also supposed to be, like, I think you're supposed to be upset about how fucked up it is that these two random guys, one of whom is, like, the biggest mess in the world. Like, I'm sorry, but I think Ocelot might be the most divorced man in the world. Sorry, Asgore. I think you might have lost that title. I think, like, it's appalling that they're responsible for so many things that they're poorly equipped to do. And I think that's, I mean, this is a game that is very critical of a lot of things that are not good in society. And these are people doing the best they can with what they've got. I will give them credit for that. But they shouldn't have to. Now, in Revachol, there's not a lot to spare. Well, Serious Inc., we're talking about, like, fictional characters here. Not real world people. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised to find that education systems where students spend fewer hours in class are better education systems. Like, the American school system isn't based on what is actually conducive to children learning. It's not. teenagers especially naturally do not do well waking up early in the morning. Their bodies do not want to do that. And yet we make them do that and make them sit and make young children sit in class. And then suddenly, arbitrarily, the kids are now old enough that they don't need a recess. They don't need anything. They don't need free time. So once you hit a certain age, your time to go outside and play in the middle of the school day gets taken away too. Like, none of it is designed with like what is good for kids, what will help kids learn, what will help kids be healthy. That's not the priority. It's bad. It's bad. Okay, we're gonna talk about some real shit tonight, I guess, because it's not even directly on topic, but it's close enough, and just, it's bad. Like, I feel like there's gotta be a way for us to change these things, but I don't know how. Against the baseline of what's good for people, you know? Against our improved understanding of psychology and biology. If we were to build a system that was actually based on what's good for children and what will help children learn better and what will help children grow into the best, healthiest, best trained versions of themselves, it would look wildly different. The people who study these things have been clamoring for change. And instead of that, we've just been leaning harder and harder in the other direction. Standardized tests have become so incredibly present, prevalent, prominent in the American school system. Because there's people who have a lot of power and money who make more money. Because of the standardized tests, children aren't being taught because some dumbass thinks that his number go up is more important in his bank account. It won't even affect his quality of life. But like, the entire school system is set up so that number go up in people's bank accounts, that again won't affect their quality of life, because the standardized tests are paid for and proctored and things. And like, they don't actually educate people. They teachers can't teach because they're too busy teaching to the test, because that's how schools are determined to be succeeding or failing. Teachers can be fired if their students don't pass the standardized test well enough. Schools can lose funding if they don't pass the standardized test like with enough percentage of their students. But the standardized tests don't actually test anything meaningful or significant or worthwhile. And it prevents time from being able to be spent with actual learning. And like, which schools are disproportionately affected by this? You know, the schools that are underprivileged, or the schools that have a significant number of students from marginalized communities. It's really bad. If you don't think that the school system in the US is bad, you clearly haven't looked at it. I'm sorry, but you should maybe do some reading and research into it. It's not that hard to find. I have a lot of friends who are teachers. They talk about things. They've got master's degrees in education. They've studied psychology. They've studied the brain. They've studied the needs of children. And that's not even going into the collective trauma of COVID that as a nation the US has just decided has never happened. And therefore there will be no reckoning with it and no coming to the other side of being traumatized by it. Okay, well, I'm going to say it's bad. I'm just saying it's bad. That if you don't think it's bad in the ways that I'm saying it's bad, that's your prerogative. But I have so many friends who are teachers, who desperately want to be teachers, who frequently have to leave teaching. They are pushed out of teaching. It's just unsustainable. It's a fucked up system. Teachers are chronically underpaid, overworked, devalued, asked to serve as human shields for children against gunmen. They are expected to pay out of their pockets for essentials for their classroom. The structure of classrooms is not designed with children's needs in mind. Individual teachers do their best to compensate for that, but there's only so much you can do when your job... I'm sorry, I think that's bullshit. I'm not describing a situation that's doing the best it can and could be improved. I'm describing a system in crisis that is hemorrhaging teachers, that is failing to serve children, that is like on a sharp and steady decline. So yes, it's bad. What else could it be? Who is the educational system not bad for? Who does it serve? How is it not bad? Where is your own defensiveness about the educational system coming from? Are you a teacher? I am not accusing teachers of doing a bad job. I am saying that I think that teachers are doing the best they can in a fundamentally fucked up system that works against them and limits their power. So yeah, it's pretty bad. And the US educational system is actually not considered one of the best in the world, as I understand it. It doesn't help that, for example, our history textbooks are being, like, controlled by extremist politicians. No! Okay, this is like the Twitter waffles and pancakes thing. Why are you holding up a straw man argument that has literally nothing to do with anything I've said? Do you have grounds to stand on? Do you have something to actually say that actually addresses the concerns that I have? Or are you feeling weirdly defensive about the educational system and are therefore going to act as though I'm making an argument that I've never said anything about? Sorry, folks. We've gone down a tangent, but this is Disco Elysium. You know, let's be real. We're here right now. We've been here for a little while. No, I don't mean to come across as though I'm disparaging teachers in any way. They are, like I said, doing their damnedest to serve children. And I don't mean to disparage children. They're just kids. What can they do? Oh my god. Okay, Gibraltar, you have a way of looking at the world and thinking about arguments that is literally incomprehensible to me, so I think we should probably stop. Because you're basically, as far as I can tell, spouting some sort of... I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Like, when did I say children shouldn't go to school? When did I say school is the worst thing in the world? When did I say that? Like, rewind what I just said. You can do that. When did I say anything that had anything to do with that? Who is making that argument? It's not me. I'm saying the system is fucked and it is bad, and I would say that the way it is set up is a way that is harmful to children. Is the existence of school harmful to children? No. But the way that the system is set up does not take children's needs into consideration. So yes, it does do harm. It does psychological harm. It does physical harm. It fails to prepare them in ways that they really need. And it does great harm to the teachers as well, in a lot of cases. Does that mean that it is worse than not having school? Our society's not set up to accommodate there being no school. We saw that during COVID, when children had to stay home because they couldn't go to school. It broke down a lot of other things because parents need someone to be able to take care of their kids so that they can go to work. We do not have a society that is structured to compensate for that or to accommodate that. That's a problem, but it's the world we live in. But none of that means that, oh, well, we can't say that the school system is bad. I mean, there are school systems in the history of the world that are worse. Does that mean that it's not bad? Are we not allowed to say that something is bad and to despair of the crisis that it is going toward? There are people actively defunding the school system so that they can funnel people towards private schools so that the people who run the private schools make more money. There are people talking about taking children out of school and putting them into the workforce. Like, the system is fucked. We need to fix it. There are some really awful people doing a lot of really harmful things so that they can make more money. I'm sorry, I'm just yelling a lot. But I'm really stressed out about this, yes. Because I would like to see better. And I think that we can see better. Yes. I think when it comes to education, we should improve it. You know, I think as a society, our priorities are really fucked. You know? Like, what is the purpose of a government? Is it to make money as a government? Is it to make money for small groups of people? Or is it, Okay, you can't just call someone's opinion that you disagree with hyperbole. That's bullshit. And if you think that I am out of line for having strong opinions, because we should not have strong opinions, we should be calm and collected, and we should always say, well, it's not as bad as it could be. Oh, it's not actually that bad. This isn't actually a crisis. Like, no. Fuck that. I don't have to be level-headed and use approved language. I don't think that having emotions about things is a bad thing, and that we need to be as reserved and rational as possible and never make any, you know, strong statements. Goodness, no. Like, people are dying. People are hurting. It's bad. You can judge me on whatever you want to judge me on, and that's, I guess, up to you, but I think you're full of shit. And that's not to say that other school systems, other educational systems in other parts of the world aren't also incredibly flawed or worse than the US system. But, oh, am I not a moralist? Are you telling me I'm not a moralist? Oh, man. I think I should probably take that as a compliment. All right. Well, I guess I'm not going to be I guess I'm not a moralist. Gosh, we can't use strong language to talk about things that are ruining people's lives and causing major problems in our culture, harming children, and leading to a point where we may have a completely non-functional system if it keeps going in the direction that it's going. We can't possibly talk like that. Somebody's feelings might get hurt. Gosh, it's a little bad. There's a slight problem. I'm sorry. I'm not actually sorry. We're having a tangent. Yeah. No. When I see people being abusive, when I see people being shitheads, when I see people destroying society, harming children, just to line their own pockets, I'm gonna call that out as being really shitty. Just because they're not literally skinning puppies or whatever does not make it just a little bad. Yes, I went on it. Oh, that is how we got here, Lily. That's how we got here. Yes, I have discovered that the cops also have to do the autopsy themselves, and that kind of got into talking about societal. Poor societal prioritization and the questionable allocation of resources based on those questionable priorities in the US, and how we devalue things such as the people who keep us alive and the people who educate our children and the system that takes care of our children. Like, if you're Like, the point of a government, in my very controversial and heated opinion, should be to take care of the people who make it up. To support the society that it is at the head of. Not to make money. Not to hold power or authority. But I feel like the point of a government should be to support society. So things like healthcare and education should be priorities. Because those are important. It's like when people start talking about how the postal service in the US needs to be taken apart because it doesn't make money. It's like the point of the postal service isn't to make money. The point of the postal service is because you need to have a functional postal service to have a healthy society. If you don't have a functional postal service, it harms your society. Having an educated population benefits everyone. Giving everyone equal opportunities and giving everyone equal access to education benefits everybody. If for no other reason than that child in an underprivileged community might be the one who could cure the kind of cancer that you want to be cured. But we'll never know because the kid didn't get enough science to get there. Yes, and also the postal service got hugely sabotaged too, just like the school system. Betsy DeVos was like mustache twirling evil, cartoonishly evil. What's the name of the dude who did that to the postal service? Yeah, well, like, literally making money is viewed as a, like, moral and religious obligation. Like, DeJoy, thank you. DeVos and DeJoy, oh my god. Okay, that's why I couldn't remember his name. It was too similar to DeVos. Oh my god. He does sound like a Disco Elysium. They both sound like Disco Elysium characters, and they're not the only evil ones. Yeah. It sure is a thing. Anyway, yes. I think we should improve society somewhat. In the meantime, we keep limping along as best we can. If you have extra money, look for teacher wish lists and buy things off of teacher wish lists so that their students can have some kind of resources to do things. It's a form of mutual aid. Fun fact, teachers may be part of a union, but they cannot, in a number of states, including Texas, they cannot engage in strikes and things like that. They're legally not allowed to. It is bad. The thing is, long-term improved childhood education does actually improve finances for like a lot, like I think a nation's overall ability to be like wealthy and powerful goes up long-term if we invest in our children and we invest in education. But it doesn't improve it right now, this minute. And that is all these fucking tech bros and whatever this class. Yeah, I know. Oh. So there's my politics. I know they're really subtle. I know, like, I've been really keeping it close to my heart this whole time playing through this game, but when did my stream get political? Don't I know that streamers are here to be entertaining? Whatever, I'm never gonna make it big. And even if I did, I would still be political. I just have more people yelling at me. It's fine. It's fine. Famously apolitical streamers. Yes. Yeah. But if you had talked to me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known a lot of this stuff. So, like, my leaning was towards this, but there were a lot of things that I was like, well, maybe it's not so much. So, like, you can learn a lot about things. Yes, the thing is, if you teach the children, if you empower the people, if they learn things and they learn the truth and they learn history, then they're better equipped to not be, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a word for taking advantage of. What's that word? There's a one word. What is the word I'm looking for? Oh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Yeah, well, it's been interesting. I've been getting comments from people. Exploited. Exploitation! That is exactly the word I was looking for. Thank you. Yes, it is harder to exploit people when they are armed with education. And dinner. Lunch. The fact that people oppose free lunch for children. This tells you everything you need to know about how fucked up things are. Kids eating food. How is it their fault? I mean, it can't, like, it's not even that, like, school lunch doesn't cost that much anyway. I mean, have you eaten an American school lunch? They're not that good. It's not that expensive, relatively speaking. They did argue that the ketchup needed to count as a vegetable when somebody tried to enforce them to be healthier. Oh, man. Priorities. If you're not going to spend your money on your children, what are you going to spend your money on? Guns and planes. Then guns on planes, basically. I'm not wrong. Anyway. Yeah, somebody was... I've gotten a couple of comments on Disco Elysium streams in the recent... like, where people at work... When I was, like, getting, like, kind of like, why is everyone, like, so mad all the time in the comments? And before, like, it's because everybody's political. Because this game makes you get into real-life politics, and people have feelings about that. Okay, well, the game may think that my Ocelot is a laughable centrist, but, I don't know. I am some flavor of on the left. I consider myself democratic socialist according to how that is defined in the US. Which is not the same as how it's defined in other parts of the world, so I have to put that there so that it is clear. I don't know enough about world political titles to know for sure. In Canada, I like the NDP most often, so I don't know. Anyway, shall we get back to a video game? We're not gonna get to Joyce tonight, are we? I didn't expect to get real mad about this, but I got real mad about this. Alright, we have a video game. We're gonna play that video game. Sorry it took me so long to realize that we were in Disco Elysium. I don't think I've yelled that much in a while. I feel like I'm gonna lose my voice. Also, my allergies are really bad in Texas, so it's fine. It's how it is. It's just how it is. Plus, there's like 4 cats, and I'm allergic to cats, so that doesn't help. Alright, Kim says we are detectives. An honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work. Everything. So this does actually kind of continue to illustrate part of how Ocelot wound up the way that he did. Yeah, I guess maybe that's a problem, Zilly, is I think I'm probably somewhere between those two. And this game doesn't have a space for me. And I don't particularly feel comfortable aligning myself with either of the others. So they're like, okay, well, clearly you just have no alignments. You've got no politics. And I'm like, but Disco Elysium. And they're like, pick a side, Lauren. Yeah. No, but this does give you a better feeling of, like, what could have driven Harry to the state that we see him in. You know, obviously there's something going on personally with the woman who left. But it's not just that, it's also the situation that he works in. And so the case that horrified me so very much in which he permanently disables a man. Like, he's at his breaking point, too, to some degree. Being in this system trying to fix things, and you can't fix things. The system is too broken. There is too much wrong, and not enough resources or people to do it. Like, doing autopsies is the sort of thing that, like, I think you have to kind of have a certain emotional, like, proclivity. Like, you have to be, it's like I had a friend who was an end-of-life nurse, and you have to be the kind of person who can be okay in order to survive doing that. And she was really good at compartmentalizing and being like, this is outside of my control, so I can just make these people as comfortable as I possibly can before they go. And they're all going to die. And she, like, had peace with that. I would not have peace with that. I couldn't do that. And that's not in any way a negative thing about either of us. That's just, some things are really hard, and some people are better equipped to do those things or not. But to do autopsies and also be supposed to have the skill set to deal with these other things, to be somebody who's good at calculating out what's going on and good at talking to people to get information, but also, like, social work, talking your way through a situation to try to, like, de-escalate it, to try to have to do all of these things. It's like holding water in your hands. It's going to slip through your fingers. And if you are a person who cares and is compassionate and who starts doing this because you want this work to get done, because it needs to get done and you want to make the world a better place, as we can extrapolate from the letter that we've read from the woman who was in love with Ocelot when he was younger, perhaps he was that kind of a person. To then throw yourself repeatedly into failure after failure after failure after failure, unavoidable failure where there is nothing you can do and it never stops. And it's not just like you failed and so, like, you made an object look lumpy. No, you failed and people die. You fail and lives are ruined. As somebody who is compassionate and cares, that's got to be devastating. And after enough of that, it's going to break you. When Kim talks about how the other, he's seen this before, you know, Ocelot maybe is a particularly bad case, but he's not the only one that Kim has seen like this. I'm sure a large part of it is all of this. Trying to do what they can to help when you're, you know, like, your arm's been cut off and someone puts a band-aid on it, and that's all you can do. So I'm a little horrified on behalf of people in this world, because they're doing the best they can. And the fucking, what are they called? The moralists. What are they called? The UN. What are they called in this game? Disco Elysium UN. Is it the moral intern? Is that what they're called? They are intentionally keeping this situation. How fucking inhumane. They could make this situation better, but they want to control these people, punish these people, prevent them from being able to do anything again. So, good job. How very moral of you. Anyway. How's that? That was actually on topics of the game, though. The coalition! That's the word. I knew there was another word. The coalition is the word. That's the UN. Yeah. My centrism, such as it is like, is there a way for us to do this that isn't going to result in as many people dying? Because revolutions don't always quite go the way people want them to. And there's sometimes the reign of terror that follows a revolution, etc., etc. A little concerned about that. Yeah, I look, I'm going to overanalyze everyone and everything, as we have just witnessed. But I can be mad at the moral intern. I can be mad at the coalition in this game, and it doesn't have consequences for my real world people life. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a good point. Chaotic good tends to be attributed to a lot of the characters that I like. But I do think that chaos can get out of your control real fast, real bad. So trying to reform if you can. Maybe there comes a time when reformation is no longer possible, or has been proven to be never possible, and it is time. But when possible, perhaps try to choose the less destructive option. Or pair the destructive option with a less destructive option and have them going simultaneously to try to provide necessary support. Anyway. We can never know for sure. It's not like we can load a save in real life, you know? See what would have happened if we picked this other option. You just do the best you can and roll with it. It's very stressful for people. Humans don't like uncertainty. Okay, so so I can say, wait, honorary rank of detective, or yes, I feel like a detective, or I don't think I'm a detective. I'm gonna ask about the honorary rank of detective, because I guess we can't have ranks officially because we're not officially actually cops. Let's see. Oh no, Violet. Oh no, I'm pretty sure that okay, look, Undertale teaches us some things about loading saves.
An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able, usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is Lieutenant Detective.
I wonder, I don't know what I am. Have they let me know what I am? I don't remember. So once you've been in this long enough, then they decide that you get knighted. Doesn't actually do anything. I feel like authority, like, I feel like rank and power should be a responsibility, first and foremost. And it's interesting, in modern storytelling, if you want to have like a relatable, sympathetic, endearing character who's in the monarchy, who's not actively trying to like bring about democracy necessarily, you can kind of have to make them like be like, oh, well, being king means that I am responsible for my people and I must place them first at all times. I think that is that because I mean, when I write King Edgar of Figaro, that's how I do it, because that's, I mean, I think it's in keeping with how he comes across in the game. It's Final Fantasy VI. You should read my fanfic if you like Final Fantasy VI. But it's something I've noticed in recent generations of work. We don't find the monarchy inherently sympathetic. They have to kind of earn their keep. It's neat. Yeah, our bot is down. I'm sorry, folks. I can try to get the bot up if we want to, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why it does that. And then I have to like load up their website and like press a button that just turns it on, but I never do anything that turns it off. It just arbitrarily turns itself off every so often. It's very annoying. If I could have any other bot that let me maintain my quotes, I would. This is my first run. I am the slowest person in the entire world because I just spent half an hour talking about real world politics. Which I've just done, or deconstructing politics in game, which I've also just done. So, yeah. But we did progress the plot tonight. We did. We talked to a giant racist and we progressed the plot. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. All right. Do I feel like a detective? I do. I think I'm a detective. I don't know. Am I a detective? I think I'm a detective. I have my detective cap on. In the name of friendship, I feel like a detective.
You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now...
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
First, what exactly is a field autopsy? Let's see how much we actually have to do. We actually have to cut the body open because I would really rather not. Unless it like rearranges itself to be like playing a game of Operation. I'd really rather not. I'm not very good at that game. Alright. Oh, and there's, if you want to read the fanfic, it's there. I should get back to it. I haven't posted a chapter since January because of my health. But I've been thinking about it. Maybe while I'm here in Texas, if I've got some time to kill, I will finish writing the next chapter. It's a doozy. Okay, first, what exactly is a field autopsy?
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
He pulls on a pair of latex gloves. That's what the Foley that we got there was.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Mundi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Epui Descent, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. But what a field autopsy is, you have no idea.
Oh, man. Okay. So I love that Encyclopedia pulls just random shit. And it's just like, here's some random things you know. I've been really wrestling with this because I think my memory is starting to come back. Like so this is this room that I'm in right now is the room that I grew up in. Like, we moved here when I was like 6 or 7. And then I grew up in this room for like, the next, until I turned 18 and then came back every summer or whatever. And so I was hanging up my clothes in my closet because I'm here for long enough that I'm hanging up clothes in closet. And I suddenly like had this like flashback to this shirt that we had in our middle school speech and debate team that I designed the logo for, that I haven't thought about it's been a little while since I was in middle school, folks. And I was just like holding like a different shirt and just like this memory pops into my head and I'm just like, I didn't remember like that I did that, but now I remember exactly what it looked like and everything. Memory is really weird, but I had like a dream last night. I woke up in the middle of the night because I had a dream about a friend that I had a falling out with as in the aftermath of my divorce, and was really upset about that. But it's like, okay, I'm dreaming again. I'm remembering a few things, but a few things that have just been coming up. But it is like this random stuff. Whereas like I'll like talk to my mom and she'll be like, oh, the time that this thing that you used to do, or like these people that you used to know, and I'm like, they're gone. It's all gone. It's not here. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Ocelot and I will someday get our memories back. That'd be nice. But in the meantime, I can share with you folks the lived experience of simultaneously playing Disco Elysium and also lacking my memory. But it's the serious thing. It's exciting because for over a year I didn't have dreams. So I'll still take it because dreams are a part of memory processing, and so it's all related. All right. Good night, Chrono. I hope that you have a good evening. Take it easy. All right, let's see. So Corpus Mundi, doesn't that mean the body of the world? I don't know this word. You should know this one. Because this is and something of the... I don't know what this word means. Oh, blood. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, like sanguine. Okay. Mm-hmm. What is pui? And then some blood. Okay, thank you. My French is not great, but it's also not non-existent, so it's just enough that when I see things in French, I have to try to puzzle them out. I apologize to anyone who's actually like French speaking. Okay, so this world has a mountain that is insanely tall. Okay, I missed that discussion. It's like I have no concept of how these things go. But that actually fits with our knowledge of the fact that their world just like doesn't work, right? Compared to our world. Just the laws of physics when it comes to like planetary physics, like geology and geography and all those things just doesn't function like it does in our world. It's really interesting stuff. Oops, world broke. Okay, that's really interesting. So 38. We're in 52, right? 52, 53, something like that, right? Right? Oh, let's take some psychic damage, maybe. Do I want to take some psychic damage? Because we can say, why don't you know? What use are you? Or clap your gloved hands. Let's get in there. I do have my gloves on already. Or, yeah, let's get back to this later. Oh, 51. I was so close. I was so close. Like, I want to know why I don't know. But I'm doing okay with confidence, actually. No. I feel like a detective. Maybe we're not going to be sorry cop. Maybe I got sufficiently pissed off about my conversation earlier tonight that I'm going in. I'm taking a more aggressive approach. For better or for worse. Look. I don't know, man. I'm going to clap my gloved hands. Let's get in there. I don't know what I'm doing, Kim. Hype cop. Yeah, that's okay. I'm still going to be sorry cop. That's just how it goes.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity.
He approves of my silly gloves, but not fully. He nods approvingly. He's like, yes, okay. I don't know. What do you mean?
I mean when I need you to. Until then, I should handle physical contact, and you should take notes.
Okay. Alright, Kim, I'm going to try my best. We know that Harry can take pretty good notes, because we've read his notes before. He has the capacity to be a successful note taker. So we'll see how well Ocelot does.
You're being handled. If you resist now, he will turn on his heavy-duty authority mode. You will get your chance to dig in later.
Okay, actually, so Kim does not approve of me being proactive here. He's like, no, you're gonna make a mess of things. That's really funny. Thanks, Volition. I'm glad I put points in Volition. This is good. All right. So I know enough not to fuck with him, basically, is what this is. Volition rolled the dice and is like, yeah, don't mess with Kim. It will backfire. So I will not. I don't have the option to resist him here. We just fill this in, right? Show him the red field autopsy form in your ledger. See, look at me. I'm such a good boy. Yes, no, I suspect Volition was like, no, you're gonna behave. Like, okay, that's fair. Volition is one that I tend to trust. Or listen to. There's a word to describe the feeling there, but I'd have to think about how to articulate it.
That's right.
I leveled up off of something that's actually related to the main story. Aren't you proud of me? Kim's proud of me.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the
The game is like, Lauren, we're rewarding you for digging into things. Amazing. Yeah, it does seem like a skill is like you don't get to say that thing, because we know that skills have given us options. But skills, it's interesting to know that skills take them away sometimes too. Look, paper, I'm a cop. Paperwork's important. Clearly. Okay. So I can either open my ledger at the field autopsy form or tell me something, dead man. should talk to the dead man around Kim. I feel like that's a bad idea. I don't think he'll like that very much. And here I was thinking I shouldn't take the boots off because the autopsy people were going to be upset about that. Well, I am the autopsy person, so I'll just be upset at myself. Because like I don't want to like move on. I guess this is probably progression. The placement, the way these things work. I think that this is like a separate situation, so I think that this is going to stay here. So yeah, let's just ask the dead man something. Tell me something, dead man.
Shoot, Looney Rooney.
Looney Rooney. All right, there's nothing new. So this is probably my last opportunity to talk.
Come back later, Corporal. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
Not a good time. Not a good time for good old Ocelot. All right, so I don't think I should take his boots off. I think Kim would probably object to that at this point. So yeah, let's open the ledger at the field autopsy form.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
Okay, so I can either do begin 1, assistant, or let's jump ahead to the 3-part summary. I'm sure Kim would love that. Or let's pause this autopsy. So if you want to walk away from this. Okay, let's begin. Alright, this is probably going to be real gross, but we're in the gross part of the game, so we're just going to roll with it. Okay. 1, assistant.
That's you.
I'm sorry, Ocelot. But as far as we know, that is in fact me. And this is in fact my name. I bet... you can do this without having gotten his name. In which case, you would leave it empty. So I'm going to put my name. That's the name that I've got.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings. Just lies there. The next box says...
2. Coroner's case number. But we're not a coroner.
KK57-0803.0815.
Okay, so KK, that's Kim Kisaragi. So he's the coroner. Detectives shouldn't have to be coroners. That's fucked up. I'm swearing a lot this stream. I'm just... This is a Lauren without any filter at all.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case after himself, not you.
Well, I mean, I'm the assistant. That's why. I'm glad that Logic is here to interpret more of it than I did, because I forgot. If I remembered the precinct numbers better, then I would have been able to tell that was him and the precinct, but I wouldn't have been sure about the rest. Oh, right. This is March 8th. Right. Sorry, American date system. Certainly not August.
That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
Oh. But we know my initials. This feels like a weird flag. Thing is, Okay. Gotta overthink everything. That's how I roll. This seems completely inconsequential. It's not a big deal. My worry here is not about Kim getting credit for something that I should get credit for. My worry is about Kim getting blame for something that I should get blame for. Like, this case shouldn't be his fault. You know, Ocelot's kind of the mess. You know? However, if I object with this, Kim is most likely going to think that I'm trying to get credit for it. Positive. Instead of I'm trying to prevent him from getting credit for it. Negative. If that makes sense. Kim won't respond very well to that, I don't think. Kim does not like having his authority challenged. He's the one who knows what he's doing better in the situation. And Ocelot is on shaky ground right now. So I'm going to say that the in-character thing to do is going to be to go along with Kim. Mark my words, I have misgivings about this. I have concerns that this might be a bad idea. But we're going to go with it anyway. I am aware that this might bring things crashing down in Kim's head. Like if I steal the boots. Well, we'll see what happens. I guess we can always load a save if we need to. That option does exist. Write it down.
Next.
3. Name.
NA. Next.
Date of birth.
NA.
Age.
Roughly 50.
Corrects his glasses. Okay.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side.
Oh, Kim's not going to like this. But I trust visual calculus. That's the thing. Harry had some good detective skills. And I actually trust him on this. Kim, and I didn't push it earlier, so Kim's not going to be mad at me overall for being disobedient. I'm being pretty accommodating. So I'm going to tell him I'm going to write about 42. Or I could just write about 50. I'm going to let him know this. Because the thing is, because I've been going along with things instead of fighting it, and because Kim has respected me as a professional in the past, I think I can probably get away with this, with Kim being like, okay, you might be right on this. So I'm going to tell him I'm going to write about 42.
He nods.
Okay. That's good. We're making a good team here. 6. Race.
Mondial.
Okay. I don't know anything about this, so I'm just going to take your word for it, Kim.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Muindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish.
I don't have any other options here. I'm just like, okay, yeah. I have no reason to believe otherwise. I wonder if that means there's a way you can have more information about this. Or conversely, if you are a big ol' racist. If you could have some sort of awful racist answers. And yeah, that's what I was thinking, Zulily, is I've had visual calculus stuff happen before, and Kim always... Whatever Kim sees when Ocelot does that, it inspires confidence in him. So, upgrades in race. I don't know. Just in race. If I had enough racism, I could maybe have answers that were racist. But
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
7. Sex.
Fucky, fucky!
The little monster exclaims energetically. Yeah, so we didn't have enough racism points to be racist there. I suspect, I get the feeling that if you have been sufficiently racist, you can be racist there too. Just my gut tells me that's the one of the options that we didn't get. All right, charming child.
Male.
Kim just ignores her.
Pigs can have sex.
can write down what she said or write down what Cuno said. I'm just gonna write male. No thanks.
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
All right. Date of death.
We're still going with March 4th, 51.
All right. 04, 03, 51, because we're not in the US, so we're not going to do American date systems.
What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
Yeah, 'cause the body has not been identified. We may change that later.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
11. Evidence of treatment. Oh, well, now we're going to have to put the fact that we tried to shoot him down and accidentally shot him in the belly. It should be clear to anyone looking at it that that was done after he was dead. So hopefully they won't think we killed him. It looks like he was very clearly hanged. Alright. It is interesting that his name now is the number. I assume that you could probably suggest that it be your case. And then the voice actor would have read that line instead, potentially. Or Kim might just say no.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
Okay.
A strange word. Treatment.
So I can say, what exactly is treatment anyway? Which is fair. I don't know what they mean by treatment here. Or I'm not so sure. Didn't the footprints look like he was carried over? Or agreed, no treatment. Or I'm not so sure. Or what's next? I'm going to use my visual calculus here because we thought about this before. I don't know what he means by treatment. It's one of those things where I wish I could know if I could ask one and then answer two after that, because sometimes you can do that. And this is like kind of set up like that. So, okay, I'm gonna, sorry, this is what we've got in place of chat hat. Lauren puts a basket on her head. The Knox box is serving a purpose. Can I choose one and then choose two? Okay. Yeah, that's what it looked like. I'm beginning to sort of get a feel for some of the things about how this works, but all right, we're going to do that. What exactly is treatment anyway?
Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
Oh, I mean, we did do that. We shot it in the belly.
Don't overdo it. It's okay to be unsure.
I'm not so sure. Didn't the footprints look like he was carried over? Also, we shot him in the belly. Okay, so I'm going to ask about the footprints because that's an option that I have because I saw the footprints. So therefore I'm going to pick that. That's the option I got for being observant. So I'm going to use it.
They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dog walkers.
He places his hand on the dead man's chest as if in preparation.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then...
Oh, this is our equivalent of, I guess, like doing like the cross over somebody or something like that. I'm sorry, I get really excited about these little details like this. There's a little bit of world building that emphasizes that it is not the same as our world, but still we have like a framework to a reference to understand it. It's cool. Pre-DeLorean burial rites. It is very interesting that Kim has this.
Somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. there is darkness in the shed.
Is that going to be the dog that they had to put down, the rabid dog? Hope there's not foreshadowing that somebody might consider Ocelot a rabid dog who has to be put down. So I guess this is a gesture that is fairly ubiquitous.
Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Cudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches to make sure she is dead more than anything else.
So this sounds like a house call of some sort where like they've gone into the house and found a presumably dead body in a different part of town.
And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today, 42 stations of breath.
This is a really good way of reinforcing what it is that the cops have to do in this setting, what things are like, and it also reinforces kind of that you're part of this net of people doing the same thing, everyone dealing with death, and you can imagine the toll that takes. GRIH, I don't know what that stands for. Probably ought to at this point. 42 deceased persons found today. So then this small corpse here must not be the dog that was put down. I don't know. Like, that sounds like an infant. I don't know.
We should start the post-mortem.
Turn the page.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
All right. External examination summary.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
He turns the body onto its side to check the underwear label. Such little levels of detail.
See, it's happening.
Oh my god, children.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
Write it down.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
I presumably could have taken the boots, and he might have thought that somebody stole the boots, just like others have been stealing other things. That'd be a big mess. I'm going to completely fail at that task. I probably shouldn't have chosen that task, but that's fine. It's fine. You can set yourself up for failure. This is Disco Elysium. You're not going to succeed. Let's be real. All right.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
I don't really trust drama is the thing. When am I going to get them?
Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
I love that this is drama because you're going to have to bullshit. And drama is telling you how you're going to pull it off. All right, now I have to make a decision. Loot the bodies. Yes, that's a pretty good summary of it. Thing is, I don't actually want to do that. Do I? What logic did past Lauren give for why she was going to collect all of the armor parts? Because I know that I said I was going to collect all of the armor parts, but I don't remember what I was thinking or what I said or anything like that. Did past Lauren have a good reason, or was she just kind of embracing chaos? Thing is, I'm going to have to keep them hidden from Kim, and he'll be mad. Yeah, okay, that sounds right, Blue Glass. I was like, I need to find all of the lost pieces of the armor. And they were like, so that means you're going to steal those boots. And I was like, Kim's not going to like that. You would think maybe if I get all of the armor, then when I have to fight the final boss, I'll be invincible. This is gonna be my Mewtwo armor. I got Mewtwo armor and Horizon Zero Dawn. What's great about that is that anyone who's played Horizon Zero Dawn, when I call it Mewtwo armor, they have a moment of like, why on earth did you call it that? But then they like know exactly what I mean because it's actually a really good description. Well, if like the aliens come down with the moral intern and take him hostage and I have to shoot them all and rescue him, it would be made easier if I had this. Like, that's the sort of thing that if this were like a platform shooter thingy. You know, like Cave Story, Mega Man, etc. You want to get all of the armor pieces. And you have a full suit of armor. And then you fly in and you rescue Kim and he's like, my hero! Yeah, I need them to dash. Well, Kim will know if they get taken off the body, and he'll ask me if I did it. That's the thing, is like, I'm totally fine with recovering all of the other pieces of armor. But this makes me a liar and a thief. Now, granted, Kim has also stolen things that were supposed to go in for processing. You know? Do I video game it? Yeah, if I put the boots on, Kim will be like, why are you wearing the boots? I could, and if I, the thing is, if I pawn the boots, well, because like video gaming it, obviously we do take it. He did pocket the cash, yeah. Because the thing is, Kim doesn't have, Kim could argue, I took these from a person who was in trouble because he broke the law. This person is a dead body, and I'm desecrating the body. So this is a big question. And also, it is probably going to come and bite me in the ass that I didn't take over, and that it is Kim's body and not mine. That's probably going to be bad. Yeah, and people have taken all the others. Window of opportunity. Well. This probably is going to go badly if I take it. All right. The thing is, I have to decide, am I going to do the video gamey thing, which is take the boots, Lauren, take the boots, definitely take the boots. If I'm going to do the good person role-playing thing, don't take the boots. Why would you take the boots? Or do I have a roleplay reason to take or not take the boots? What would Ocelot do? Harry would take the boots, pawn them, and buy drugs. But what would Ocelot do? He is a man who can be in control of what he does. Well, okay, so for anyone who's watching me for the first time, if you haven't watched this, the reason why I'm calling him Ocelot is because before I knew his name, I determined he looked like Revolver Ocelot and I needed a name to refer to him by, so I referred to him by Ocelot and have called him Ocelot for my entire incredibly slow playthrough. And I'm now making a distinction between... because he seems very uncomfortable with being called Harry, and he clearly is very hesitant to connect with his self and has potentially gone through like a self change. So now if I talk about Harry, that'll be him when I couldn't control him. And he's Ocelot when I am controlling him. Well, the thing is, like, the reason why I would take the boots is because I need them to get the set. I'm gonna fail that. Because that's not a reason to do things. I'm just, no. I would have picked one of the different answers if I had realized at the time. I'm sure I would have picked something different if I'd realized at the time that the boots were included. Yeah, I'm just not going to take the boots. No, I'm not going to take the boots. I'm sorry, Kim, if this means that I don't get to save you when space aliens show up and kidnap you and I can't fly by and have you be like, oh, my hero. But it'll be the boots. We'll know it's the boots. I'm going to write it down. Sorry, drama.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design.
Write it down.
Tattoos.
He stands up, feet planted on either side of the body. So yeah, I'm going to be a goody two shoes. And not get two shoes. Ha! Ha ha ha! I think I'm funny, okay? Okay, that's... Anyway. Look. I'm very cool. Goody no shoes, yes. There we go. I'm glad somebody can appreciate my brilliant comedy. Oh, man. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all night. All right. The tattoos.
The upper torso is covered in a single continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white.
National pattern.
The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini.
Write it down. Okay, but I better still be able to show people that.
The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color, yellow. Length, 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end.
Kim might notice if I didn't write down all of the details that he gives about the boots, too.
Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42.
He's going with what
Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing.
Okay, how tall is that in feet? Sorry. Sorry! Sorry. I'm still too American for that. He's just under 6 feet. Okay, thanks. Okay, so he's not overly tall, but he's big and beefy.
Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a military cut. Touch the corpse's hair before moving on. Okay, I'm gonna ask a question because I find this unclear for no reason. Are these an either or thing? Do I either touch the hair or I write it down? Or can I do both of these? Does anyone know? I don't trust this game. My chat hat is really cool. I can do both. Okay, cool. I'll do so. Excellent. Look at all of this chat hat that we're getting this time. Alright, we'll touch the hair first. See what happens.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch. Wet.
That's gross. I'm not going to continue with this. I'm just going to write it down. I think stroking his hair. Well, like, it could be like a, reassuring thing. Like, it could be like a gentle thing to be like, I'm sorry that you're dead, sir. But it feels kind of weird to me. Because you can stroke his hair or you can stroke his hair gently. Maybe I'll stroke his hair gently, actually. See what happens. Maybe his hair's going to come out. I don't know. This could be a kind and humanizing gesture. Maybe we'll try that. I do have gloves. Yeah. You know, if Kim can do the little blessing of the breath thing, I can do I'm sorry you're dead, sir. We'll see if the game registers this or if the children think that it's weird, because the children are weird. We'll try that.
The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to the latex of the glove, like thread off a ragdoll's head.
Okay, now it's weird. That after this it gets weird. Keep petting him, that's weird. No, we're gonna just write it down. We're not gonna go all the way. That's too weird.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Cuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max.
Thanks, Cuno. You're helping.
Talking shit about Cuno's velocity.
Oh, Cuno.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation.
Okay, I can either amend for high velocity or I can just write it down. I'm just gonna write it down. I'm sorry, Cuno, but you're not gonna read this. Let's see. Bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Meaning I assume that critters came by and tried to eat the body. Okay. I don't know what kind of critters that would be. The thing is, I don't know that I would even say... I think that Cuno is meant to be comic relief, but I think that my sense of humor perhaps is so different from what they intend that whenever Cuno speaks, I'm a little more on edge because I'm just waiting for something really uncomfortable and awful to come out. So it doesn't quite accomplish relief for me, but I think it does provide a break. No, that's true. And I think probably for most people, some of this would be really funny. But the velocity statement, that's kind of a funny little break there. But the kids getting excited about creepy, sexy stuff is really uncomfortable and gross. So I get nervous whenever he talks, just waiting for it to happen. Yeah, no, it's not it's not comic relief that perfectly de-escalates the tension, because it's Cuno and because he does cause tension. You can have another thing going on, but I do think that it's, at the very least, I think it's grounding. It pulls you out of being too close to what is going on. It reminds you that you're not just looking at a dead body, so it is like an escape, if that makes sense. Well, but the thing is, the people who are writing this game make choices about what they choose to show and how they want people to interject in conversations or not interject in conversations. So it's not like Cuno is a child doing what children would do outside of the control of the writers of the game. And it's not that he's not based on how a child in the situation would happen. But the writers of the game chose to have Cuno interject in this conversation intentionally. And they are using that to control the tension and the experience of going through this scene. I think that they are aware that the dead body is a really uncomfortable thing for a lot of players. There's a reason why we did a content warning on that. And so I do think that he's intended, if not necessarily purely as comic relief, that he is intended to be like a valve to let off some steam, if that makes sense, before like your tension builds up too much. So it does kind of release some of the discomfort. Not necessarily comic relief here, if that makes sense. Because some of what he says is so uncomfortable, but I also don't know that I'm the right person to judge this because I don't find that funny and other people do. If that makes sense. But I do think that he's grounding. He reminds you that you're playing a video game. There's other characters around, so you don't get too sucked into the horror of what's going on. And I think that that's a really wise decision on their part for the well-being of the player and for the effectiveness of the story. So it doesn't just become gratuitous, because it's really gross. It's really gross, and really upsetting. So yeah, no, I think that Cuno here, I think a different game might have made more silliness and less risk of horrifying stuff that's going to come out of these kids' mouths. But like, for example, like when the kids like get all excited because you look at the underwear, like that's one of those things where I feel like that's probably funny to other people. Oh no, I'm not talking about Cuno in general. I'm talking about Cuno specifically in this conversation, specifically in this situation. Cuno is a deeply uncomfortable and upsetting character, and talking to him is really hard because he's a child who is in a really difficult and tough situation. Talking to Cuno is probably my least favorite part of the game to put myself through. It's so incredibly unpleasant. And I think that he's very effective at that, and that's very intentional. In the context of this specific particular moment and situation in the game, they are using him as a literary device in addition to the kind of character that he is overall on his own in the story. Does that make sense, Nox? Things in stories can serve multiple purposes. And yes, I'm talking about in this particular scene. This scene, when we are talking to the body, is a really, really tense, really uncomfortable, really disgusting scene. It's very unpleasant. And Cuno's interjections, the reason why there are interjections here is not because they're like, it would be realistic for Cuno to interject all the time. It is because they need relief. And they have set themselves up with an opportunity for that relief, and in the form of Cuno. But because this game is dark, the comic relief is not lighthearted. It's still uncomfortable, and it sometimes just doesn't work as comic relief for me at all. Because, like, the velocity line, like, it is funny. And it's the sort of thing that if it weren't in the context of this, I think it would be less funny. But it's one of those where you do kind of need to laugh. So it works. But some of the other stuff is so uncomfortable. And I'm so afraid. I'm so, like, afraid of what these kids are going to bring up. What's going to come out of their mouths. It makes me so uncomfortable. Well, I've already had the conversation with Cuno. I'm doing this on the second day, the very end of the second day. So I've already had the conversation with Cuno where we find out that he's followed a lot of stories. He reads a lot, and that's why he has words like velocity in his vocabulary. That was a fun one to break apart. That was a very interesting rhetoric game. I really enjoyed that part. But generally talking to Cuno stresses me out. So let's see. But yeah, if there's anything beyond that which I have seen, please don't tell me. Don't hint at it. I'll get there eventually. All right, I'm going to write this down, and I'm not going to make this what Cuno wants because I've got no reason to do that. Sorry, child. I'm not actually going to do everything this child says. This child thinks that he has authority over me, but he does not.
Ligature mark.
The lieutenant produces a small folding knife. With the other hand pulling on the belt, he starts cutting into the polyester. The stench is horrid. After a while, it's obvious the material cannot be cut. Yeah.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
Ah. Huh.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
So I can either say, oh yeah, I'm prepared, and pet the chain cutters, or or I can say out loud, good thing we got these chain cutters, pull out the rubber cutters. So I can be weird, or I can just pull them out. I'm going to choose not to be weird here. Sorry. Even if it's weird in my own head, no, we're not gonna clown choose this one. I'm gonna pull out the chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now...
He points to the rope squeezing the dead man's neck.
We need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
I think that this might be the wrong man for the job. Kim, what about Ocelot makes you think that he's the man for this job? Precision? Look at him! Does this man look like he should do precision? No. Let's see.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
It's interesting that he has this ownership because Cuno thinks he's got authority over you. Just like he was telling the story about how he scared the union guy and things like that.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
I'm going to look for a good spot to cut. It's interesting. I mean, I'm really bad at this. I really shouldn't do this. But I think I should ignore these children. Let's look for a good spot to cut.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east.
Oh my god. That is a horrifying image. I'm not thrilled with that. I can either agree with Cuno or I can disagree with Cuno. Alright, so if I were trying to actually... Like, the thing is, like, playing along with the kid and letting the kid save face is, that goes over very well with Cuno. That's very important to him. And if I wanted something from him, I would do that, and he would be like, yeah, see, and then he would like me more. If I argue with him, he's gonna like me less. Now, it's possible if he likes me more, that will somehow, like, unlock him helping me out with this, and, like, he'll say something that will help. Or he'll say something that will make it worse. I really can't predict. I don't know. Likewise, if I tell him no, like, this might make me feel like, yeah, I'm confident, and then this might go up a bit. Probably not enough to make a difference. But it could also result in a whole scene. I'm gonna be boring and take the approach of let's just not mess with the kid. Let's just not engage with the kid. Shall we? Are you ready for me to fail miserably? Are you ready for a total loss? Are you ready for me to cut this man's head off? In my defense, Kim really shouldn't make me do this. You know? In my defense, that is a poor decision, I think. It's basically a 50, yeah. I don't know that I would say this is Kim's fault, but I will say that this is a poor decision on his part. So we're just gonna mangle this body. We've already shot it in the gut and resulted in it getting taken down from the tree. I might as well just cut its head off too. What do you think is gonna happen, Kim? I'm gonna fail. My physical instrument is 1. I could probably put on, like, I can't put them on, but I think I have clothes that would be a bit better. I think that Kim will be disappointed but not surprised if I cut his head off. Cuno might be excited. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. Alright, let's fail. Put on my chain cutter clothes. Yeah. I could, if I wanted to. I could put a point in physical instrument. I could flex powerful muscles and enjoy healthy organs. Muscle men, bare knuckle brawlers, gym teachers. I am none of those things. Oh, but then I might have more than 1 health. Am I allowed to do that? Are we allowed to not be instant death? What will I do if I have more than 1 HP? I mean, I'm still going to fail this, even if I get this. I think you can add points mid-conversation for precisely this reason, but you can't change clothing. Oh, it's endurance, not physical instrument. Okay, well, phew. All right, then. That's fine. That's fine. Do I want to do this? Alright. Do I care? I mean, I'm not going to do push-ups, sit-ups, knockout punches, or 360-degree spin kicks. That's definitely not going to happen. High levels. Physical instrument breaks doors, chains, and bones. And it makes you laugh at the namby-pansies who can't. That was namby-pamby. You'll be manned up, encouraging others to curl iron until they're manned up too. At low levels, however, you'll have a hard time arresting anyone who isn't infirm or already dead. Indeed, engaging in physical confrontations could leave you in either state. Amazing. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? I thought it was namby-pamby, though. It rhymes. Maybe that's a Britishism versus an Americanism. And I bet the Brits invented this one. It kind of has that feel. Do I want to do this? Sorry, this is an important question. It is namby-pamby. Okay. Okay. Alright. I feel vindicated. Okay, so you think it's an intentional portmanteau instead of an incorrect usage of a word. Okay, fair. Do I want to put a point in this? Well, I can't put any more points in Shivers. Alas. Sorry, I have to think about this. I'm still going to fail this miserably. It feels out of character to do this. I know, I really like my word knowing. Look at how many word knowings I've got. So many word knowings. I've committed to not taking the boots. I hope I don't. I'm probably going to regret this. That's fine. I probably would regret taking the boots too. Man, I don't know. I could just put another point in logic or encyclopedia or rhetoric. Just put more points in rhetoric instead. I can rhetoric this belt off of this man's neck. What do I want to do? Oh, I'm gonna fail anyway. And it's not like I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to use physical instrument for anything anyway. I'm going to Probably. Just your suggestion. I sure can put a lot of points into the psyche ones, can't I? Rhetoric is my favorite. Yes, that's why I put a point in. That's why I put a point in reaction speed, because it's also a word knowing skill. I was tired of not being able to think on my feet to come up with witty comebacks, because those are my priorities in life. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna save this point and probably put it in something that doesn't need more points. Maybe volition. Volition seems like a really good safe one. Let's cut the head off. Are you ready to fail? Are you ready to fail? Welcome to Disco Elysium, folks. Let's do it.
You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better hold. Then...
Fuckity fuck. We're gonna go with that.
The lieutenant looks by, somewhat worried as you summon power words to your aid.
What did you think was gonna happen, Kim? This is gonna go really bad. Really badly. Well, that's fine. We already shot him in the gut. What else can we do? I feel like rotating is worse. Let's cut.
Yeah, fuck him! Fuck that baggery! Corpse fucking time!
Thanks, Cuno S. You're helping.
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He steps in and takes the chain cutters from you. Yes, that is correct, Kim. Sorry, Kim. That's what should have happened. So no, give them back. I was just about to cut it off. No thanks. Let's let him work.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts, with his elbow to his knee for precision.
The kids are going to yell and fuck it up.
Snap. The knot is slashed.
Okay.
Another cut, and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
Okay. I got experience for letting him do that. Well, that sure is a thing. That sure is a thing that happened.
Here.
He hands you the chain cutters back and then kneels closer to the body, running his finger along the dark red groove until he comes to a gap.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape.
Okay.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Write it down. I suspect with some of these you might be able to observe things a bit better. Which I haven't done.
Chest is intact. Normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant. Pelvis intact. Genitalia...
He pulls down the man's underpants. The kids are going to have something to say about this.
No! Let's get out and see!
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Thanks, Kim.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
There was something that he said, or something that was observed when I was talking to the corpse, that said something about he looked like he was enjoying it. So I'm going to ask this.
Ah yes, your hunch before. We can have a semen analysis requested from processing, if that's what you meant.
Okay, my hunch. Okay. So I can either say, yes, processing, science, that's what I meant, or, no, I was trying to get a psychic read. Yes, absolutely science, Kim. Yes, science.
Mm-hmm. Just write down that we request an analysis.
Okay.
The corpse with his pants down does not have an opinion on the subject. All he has is genitals and a deathly odor.
I do not trust Ocelot to inspect the genitals in a way that isn't weird, so we're not going to do that. Let's write it down and add the semen sample thing, because Ocelot has a hunch.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Oh, interesting. The right side has injuries.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
That is a lot. This man has done a lot of fighting.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
Thank you, visual calculus. I tend to trust visual calculus, and so does Kim. The scarring is extensive, way more than a law official's. I'm going to say that.
Mm-hmm. We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars.
I'm going to write it down.
Last item, hands.
He takes the man's right hand in his, inspects it, then moves on to the other hand. I will pick up the hand. I could let him work alone, but I'm trying to help. He might tell me to stop. Okay, he did tell me that he would let me know when it was time for me to help. And then I didn't do so great. I'm not really sure what he wants. I mean, he wants me to leave him alone. Let the lieutenant work alone. We're going to do that.
Hands are clean. No sign of a recent struggle.
Were we expecting any? Maybe I would have noticed something if I looked at the hand.
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment.
I probably should have looked then.
Working so close to the fumes coming from the corpse must be hard. You realize suddenly that the lieutenant has been barely keeping it together these past 2 items.
Oh, I should have helped then. Shit. Oh well. I didn't know. Write it down.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
I think it's time for me to shut down for the night, actually. If you folks are alright with me. Because this is probably going to take a while. It's a bit intense. And I have come up on about my 3-hour limit. Are we alright with that? Will you guys forgive me? We'll be playing again next week. Okay. We'll do that. Man, now I wish I had taken the hand and looked, because I bet there's a thing that Kim missed that I might have had a chance of seeing because my visual calculus